What's up, guys? Just wanted to make a little video talking about my thoughts on buying a Victory in today's day and age. I actually bought this bike this year in 2022, a few months ago, and it is the third Victory that I've ever purchased. I purchased one in 2021. I also purchased one back in like 2018 or 2019. Well, there's just a few things that you should know about if you're looking into getting into Victories. So let's dive into it. So Victory was started in the late 90s by Polaris, I want to say in 1998. They believed that they had an opportunity to compete in the motorcycle market here in the United States, specifically in the cruiser market. They saw the success that Harley was having and they said, hey, we can do that. And so they started a motorcycle company under the name Victory Motorcycles. And in 2011, Polaris bought Indian in an attempt to capitalize on the name and the brand Indian Motorcycles, which has been around for over 100 years. But over the last 10 or 15 years or so, the cruiser market has kind of been dying in general in the US. And so back in 2017, Polaris decided to shut down Victory in an attempt to just focus all their time and resources on Indian. You know, instead of trying to compete against themselves, they kind of just put all their eggs in one basket. Went with Indian because it's a more recognizable name, recognizable brand. So it makes sense. But it's a huge bummer because Victory makes some dope bikes. Like I said, I'm on my third one. I've only ever owned Victories for cruisers. I've owned a bunch of different sport bikes and enduro, but I've only ever had Victories for my cruisers. But I love them, man. I love the way they look. I love the way they ride. They ride super smooth. The 106 Freedom engine is a really reliable and really powerful engine, and it still holds up today. That was one of the things I wanted to mention, is the performance of these bikes. Even though they haven't made them in 5 years, they still hold up today. I ride a 2016 cross country. But last year, before this bike, I had a 2012 Highball, which had the exact same motor in it. That 106 Freedom engine. The stock 106 engine makes more power than a Stage 2 Harley-Davidson Milwaukee engine. And say what you will about Harley, but they have made a lot of improvements over the last few years. But a lot of the improvements that they've made are due in large part because Victory was right there pushing them. And that's actually kind of how Victory marketed their bikes. And a lot of people have said the way they marketed them is part of the reason they didn't sell super well. A lot of Victory's marketing attacked Harley. They would constantly say, this is not a Harley, this is way better than a Harley. That was kind of what their whole marketing campaign was based around. And it just rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. I think had they been marketed a little bit different, they would have sold a lot better. We all know how stubborn Harley riders are, how committed they are to their bikes. Just coming out and attacking them probably isn't the best strategy if you want to try and sway someone who's ridden Harley away from Harley. So in my opinion, that's the biggest reason I think they went out of business. I mean, they obviously didn't sell well. They weren't selling because of a lack of performance. I just think they were marketed really poorly. So like I said, the performance of them still holds up today. So yeah, it's no secret that Victory went out of business. So if you're looking to buy one for the first time, you definitely want to know what you're getting into. As far as you know, support and parts go, Polaris committed to making parts for 10 years after they were discontinued. I have seen that it is, I mean, we're within that 10-year window, but I have seen that it is a little bit tricky to get some stuff. and it can be a little bit hard to get support on some things. It's definitely doable. What I would suggest doing is, finding your local Indian dealer and contacting them if you need something, if you need some service, because chances were a few years ago they were a Victory dealer. And they probably have a lot of those same catalogs still in their stores. Another thing I highly recommend doing if you're going to buy a Victory in 2022 is join social media groups. I joined the Victory Motorcycle subreddit. I'm a member of anywhere from 5 to 10 different Victory Facebook groups, whether it's just for Victory bikes, for cross-country bikes. And don't be afraid to reach out to people if you need something. As far as aftermarket parts go, your options are going to be pretty limited, especially when compared to Harley. But there are options out there. There are a lot of resources. There's still a lot of great companies to use if you're looking for aftermarket parts. Witch Doctors is one of my favorite ones. You can find all sorts of stuff on there, from windscreens and grips to exhausts, paint. Lloyd's is another good one. They're one of the more popular Victory aftermarket performance shops. They've since transitioned most of their work towards Indian, but they still do have some stuff available for Victory on their website, and they still produce stuff, just in limited quantities. Hacker Custom Exhaust is another good one. They don't stock any exhausts for Victories anymore, but they do still make them. They just make them to order. They do take a while to ship though. I bought one for my 2012 Highball last year, and it took maybe, 2-3 months to ship. I bought another set for my cross country, a set of their True Duels, and I ordered it maybe 8 weeks ago, maybe even longer. Still hasn't shipped yet. When I first ordered it, they gave me an anticipated ship date of like 3 or 4 days ago. Still haven't gotten the shipping notification. But there are options out there. You just have to look a little bit harder than you would for like Harley Davidson or other motorcycle manufacturers. There's even people that I've seen on Facebook and Reddit, some other places. They'll make you custom inner fairings. They just make them at their house, but they'll fit like Pioneer Bluetooth decks in the dash. I've seen some people mention those in the comments. So if you're concerned about buying a Victory right now because you're not sure what options you have to make it your own and what aftermarket stuff you can do to it, there's still a lot you can do. You just got to be willing to look a little bit harder, ask around for parts. But the bikes are great bikes. Like I said, I bought this one this year. I have no regrets buying it. I plan on keeping this for a while. Victory just makes solid bikes. I guess we'll kind of have to see what the future looks like once Polaris stops making parts for Victory and stops offering support. That's still 5 years away. One thing that I kind of foresee being the deal here in the future is I honestly see Victory being pretty highly sought after. When they're listed for sale around here, whether at dealerships or private sellers, they do not last very long. I wouldn't be surprised if in the next few years Victories tend to actually go up in value a little bit, just because they're rare, they're hard to find, and they're still very desirable. They're still pretty highly sought after. But if you're looking at buying a Victory right now in 2022, if you're looking at buying one in the next few years, I highly recommend it. I know it kind of seems like there might be a lot of cons to Victory with them being out of business and all, but I think there's a lot of pros to buying a Victory too. I think the Victory community is really awesome. I think it's a pretty tight-knit community. I feel like there's a lot of like-minded people like-minded and open-minded. You know, there's all sorts of different types of people that ride Victories. I just feel like the Victory riders community is a really diverse group of people, and there's not really that stigma attached to the community, especially the way that it's attached to like Harley Davidson. You know, the Victory community is not nearly as toxic as the Harley Davidson community. And from what I've seen, everyone is just really supportive and willing to help each other. But anyway, man, that's just my 2 cents on buying a Victory right now. Like I said, I highly recommend it. I bought this one this year. I have no regrets. After I bought this, I kind of thought this might be my last Victory. But who knows? I might even buy another one, you know, in the future. But I do know that I will be keeping this one for a while. But anyway, I'd love to hear what you guys think, and if any of you guys are new to the channel, new to see my videos, be sure to give me a like or subscribe. But until the next one, I will catch you later.